Okay, yesterday we introduced surface area with lateral surface area of rectangular prisms. Today we're going to step it up one more notch with rectangular prisms and talk about total surface area. So again, we talked about the connection between 7th grade and 8th grade. 7th grade, you focused on finding the surface area of what's called nets. This is like the flattened version of a prism. It's an open net to where it looks like, cardboard box where it's opened, flat. That's this. Whereas lateral surface area was just focusing on everything but the two bases. Total surface area is talking about finding the whole surface area, so bases and the faces. So when we talk about total surface area, we introduce with 3D shapes, we talk about a formula because we don't focus on finding the area of each individual face. We use a formula to help us determine that without having to flatten it or open it up or anything like that. So yesterday, we talked about lateral surface area, which was S equals PH, whereas total surface area is the same thing, but talking about adding those two bases. So P stands for perimeter of the base. That means you add up all the sides. H is the height of the prism. And there's two bases, so we find the area of one base and multiply it by 2. So that's where the formula comes from. This is all on your star chart, so you don't have to remember it, memorize it. So let's just jump right in. The first thing we talked about yesterday is talking about highlighting the bases. I know I always say the bases are the top and the bottom unless they specify otherwise, which rarely happens, but it could. So if I say that the top and bottom are my bases, that means that my height for this particular question is 8. Once I use it, lose it, okay? Now to find the perimeter we talked about yesterday is add up the 4 sides of the base. In this case, it would be 12 plus 12 plus 4 plus 4. Because remember, if this side is 12, this side is 12. If this side is 4, that side is 4. So 12 plus 12 plus 4 plus 4 is 32. That's the perimeter. That's what we did yesterday. Now we're talking about the area of the base. Well, how do you find the area of a rectangle? Length times width. So in this case, I just multiply 12 times 4. Now I don't double them because we're not talking about perimeter, we're talking about area. So 12 times 4 is 48. Now, according to my formula, we're going to do 32 times 8, P times H, plus 2 times 48, 2 times the base. And we just type it in like that. Let the calculator do the PEMDAS for us. And so my answer is 352, technically units squared, or centimeters squared in this case. Because we're still technically talking about area, but on a 3-dimensional shape, okay? So 352. If I completely lost you, let me show you that again. Okay, this one's a little deceiving because of the shaded part, but I'm still going to assume that the top and bottom are my bases. Now, whenever the top and bottom are hidden, you just have to imagine that, it's see-through. So this is the bottom, this is the top. That means my height is going to be 6. Once I use it, lose it. To find the perimeter, again, I add the 4 sides of the base. So 4 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3. 14 is the perimeter. For the area of the base, it's just length times width. So 4 times 3, which is 12. Now for my formula, you're going to type in 14 times 6, P times H, plus 2 times B, which is 2 times 12. And so my answer is 108 inches squared, because we're still talking about area. And it gets pretty repetitive. It's just remembering the difference between perimeter and base and then typing it in your formula correctly, because I do have kids who mix that up all the time. Okay, so my height here would be 9. The perimeter would be 2 plus 2 plus 4 plus 4, which is 12. The area of the base would be 2 times 4. You still use the same numbers, but 2 times 4, which is 8. And then to type it in, you do 12 times 9 plus 2 times 8. And you get 124 feet squared. So far, so good. Again, gets pretty repetitive. So we talk about shading the top and bottom. Here would be there, and then my height would be 7. The perimeter would be 5 plus 5 plus 3 plus 3 is 16. The area of the base is 5 times 3, which is 15. And then I do 16 times 7 plus 2 times 15. And that's 142 millimeters squared, okay? Again, where I see a lot of kids just mess up is the area of the base. It's a new step. It's not hard, but we get a lot mixed up when it comes to the two. Now, this one's a little flatter, so we have to be careful with what I shade because my top and bottom, that means my height is 2. Once I use it, lose it. I'm going to add 7 plus 7 plus 4, 5 plus 5, which is 24. And then 7 times 5, which is the area of the base, 35. 7 times 5. Then I type in 24 times 2 plus 2 times 35 according to my formula. And then 118 meters squared is my area. Same thing. So repeating steps 1 through 5. 9 is the height. I add 3 plus 3 plus 5 plus 5. So that's 16. 3 times 5, which is 15. That's your area of your base. 16 times 9 plus 2 times 15. Again, you don't want to swap any of those numbers around or you get the wrong answer. Okay. Well, 2 more, and we'll talk about a word problem. So 4 times 1 is, the height is 7. Once I use it, lose it. 4 times 1, oh my goodness, I'm jumping steps. 4 plus 4 plus 1 plus 1 is 10. The area of the base is 4 times 1, which is 4. But then 10 times 7 plus 2 times 4 is 78 inches squared. Last one on the front, shade the bottom, shade the top. My height would be 5. I add 7 plus 7 plus 3 plus 3, 14, 6, that's 20. 7 times 3, which is 21, and then 20 times 5 plus 2 times 21, which is 142 centimeters squared. Not too bad, right? Then we talk about what if they take away the shape completely, and that's just the word problem. It says Juanita covered the outside of a gift box shaped like a rectangular prism. So that's how I know the shape. The box is 3.2 feet long, 2.1 feet wide, and 2.7 feet high. Which of the following is closest to the total surface area of this box? So I know I'm going to need P, H, and B because it's total surface area. Now, without having to draw a picture, can you tell me which number would be the height? Well, the height would be 2.7 because it says 2.7 feet high. Once I use it, lose it. Now, do you know what these two numbers represent? Those represent the two numbers I would normally have remaining after I get rid of the height. So I know that the base is 3.2 by 2.1. So that's going to help me find the perimeter. So I do 3.2 plus 3.2 plus 2.1 plus 2.1. So my perimeter would be 10.6. And the base would just multiply 3.2 times 2.1, which would be 6.72. So then I do 10.6 times 2.7 plus 2 times 6.72. So my total surface area is 42.06 feet squared. So without a picture, it's not as hard. You just have to remember the steps.